John, greetings wherever you are. I just wanted to give you an update on your vehicle. As you can see, she's in several pieces over here. You might notice a couple things are missing. Your leak was right about here. These things, there's gaskets that sit right here. I've already cleaned it all off so you can't see them anymore, but all this was cracked, and this is where the coolant was spilling out. And it was spilling out mostly from here, but there was a noticeable deterioration all the way around. Like you were starting to see it. Basically, these little bolt holes where the intake is being held to the throttle body, the block, they were leaking out coolant. The gaskets go right here, and they were just starting to pour coolant out the top of them. And that's where your leak is. Apparently, it's some kind of manufacturing defect with the coolant itself. Chevy knows about it. There's some class action lawsuit, but it's apparently too late to get it. The last pin was 08. But rest assured, everybody knew about it. It was supposed to be doing that. I just wanted to show you, we had talked about the price being a little higher, and I think you might have forgotten that you'd also mentioned to me that you wanted to have a lot of other work done while I was down here. So I'm replacing a lot of stuff. I kind of wanted to run over with you all the stuff I was replacing, and when I have it apart, it's a lot easier to explain. So here we go. First things first, we have the intake gaskets, the lower ones, which were leaking, and that's what sits right here. Then we have your PCV valve, that's for your emissions. I replaced that. I'm about to take these off right here. When I was taking these apart, one of the hoses more or less sprung a leak on me. It kind of fell apart as I was pulling it off. It runs from the front of the intake right here to this little hose right there. It's a tiny little thing. This guy right here, as you can see, this is what a good end looks like. This is what a bad end one looks like, and it kind of just did that as I was pulling it off. I'm gonna go get a new one. That's part of that substantiary stuff I was saying, how I might need some extra cash based on things being old. Well, your intake did have some deterioration on it. Let's go show you where that is. This is your intake. This is the lower part of it. This stuff right here, you can see some kind of gasketing. You notice where it's a little flatter. This is like a shinier metal. This is some gasket patcher that I put in. The deterioration wasn't severe enough for me to say that you need a brand new one, but I could say that that's definitely what was causing the leak. I have it facing up so it can dry out, but the top of it looks something similar to that. This is another gasket. This is your thermostat housing. I'm replacing your thermostat as well, since I had to remove it on the way down here. I figured I'd give you a brand new one on the way up. All of this right here is another area. This shiny metal is where I just cleaned. It was filthy, absolutely filthy. You can see this blackness. It looked like this. I've just cleaned this off because this is the gasket mate. This is kind of, I could clean it, but it's going to get that dirty once I reassemble it anyways. But right here is where we're going to replace another gasket. That's for your upper intake gaskets. I'm going to lay this back down where it was. Let it get some more sun so it can dry. Like I said, that hose tore on me, so I'm gonna have to go run and get it, but that's good because I need to let this gasket set so it can patch the small deteriorations. You can't really see it anymore, but there was some slight pitting right here. Pitting is what happens when there's a chemical reaction with the metal. It kind of rusts and flakes away. You can see the thickness of, I don't know if it might be hard to make out. You can kind of see it from right here. There's a little smear right there. That's RCV gasket. It's basically like a silicone gap filler. You can use it for light beading, and you can use it as a gasket all by itself, but it's really messy. I prefer to use the factory stuff. Anyways, I used it to fix the pitting so we don't need a new intake, which is good because, you know, that would, of course, skyrocket us way past what we were doing. The rest of this stuff, this is your upper intake. Your upper intake has a gasket right here. I'm replacing that. That's for your throttle body. That has the upper intake gaskets. That's what this is right here. I'm going to replace that as I put it back together. That's for another gasket that's just on its way out when you're in there. These are your fuel lines. These have 2 O-rings in them, and those I have to go get as well. Luckily, the company says they have it, so I'm going to go pick them up and they'll be done. This is your new thermostat. I'll be placing that back in. I already threw your old one away, or I'd show it to you, but it more or less looks like a nasty version of that. The rest of this stuff's going to go back on there. It doesn't need to be done. Oh, this is your distributor cap. This is the other thing I'm going to replace. So I had to replace a gasket underneath there when I removed it and put it back in. And then this right here is basically what ignites your spark plugs, and this can wear out. I don't want to take it apart with you right now, but I'll basically be replacing this cap, and there's an item inside it called the rotor. Let me show it to you so you know what I'm talking about. There's those. So here's your new rotor cap. Here's your new rotor. So this goes inside there. They sit on top of there, and that's basically what we were just looking at. I'll be replacing both of those at once. A good high mileage thing to replace. A lot of this stuff, I'm also replacing your serpentine belt. I had to remove it to get at it, and I'm looking at it, and it's old, so I bought it. That's part of, again, the cost that I was quoting earlier. That's why it might seem a little higher than the initial intake, because we talked about replacing all this stuff while I was in here. I don't know if you remembered that, and I realized I hadn't brought it up. That's such a long conversation to have as opposed to just showing it to you. Sorry the video is so long, but I hope it's been informative. You should call me when you get a chance. I'd love to talk to you, let you know there's some other stuff I need you to do after I've done this repair, so everything can be absolute 100% tip top. It's basically maintenance stuff. So if you want to hit me up when you get a chance, I'll gladly talk to you about all that. And, you know, hope you're having a good one, John. I'll talk to you later. Bye.